Okay, so I bought a new harness for my camera. It hangs around my neck. So I'm checking that out. I just kind of want to see how the sound does when it's sitting on my chest. Obviously I have to turn my body to look at things, which is a little different. And of course the movement when I walk. It is weighted, so it doesn't move a whole lot, but there is still a little bit of bouncing. So we'll see what that looks like. AJ's already gone back to the boat this morning. Still working on trying to get that motor off. I don't know how much we filmed of this project with the winch. But we're back at it today, trying to get the winch motor off. We removed one half of the motor to send it off and have it repaired. And this is the electric winch, by the way. And they said no, that we needed both pieces of the motor. So AJ's been fighting with it for a week.
Yeah, well, the other end of the motor is attached to the gearbox. So I can easily take the other part of the motor off of the gearbox, but there's gear oil behind it. It's for the electric winch for main sheets. And so I didn't want to do that and drain all the oil out, because it's be impossible to put oil back in, because up underneath here is basically only enough room for a hand and maybe a wrench. Yeah. So there's no way to get oil back in. So I'm trying to take the whole gearbox off, and which has the other part of the motor on it. The problem is, so underneath, so this is the deck, the gearbox is under here. I only have about this much room, about 1.5 inches underneath the gearbox in the ceiling. So that drops down about 1.5 inches, but the pin that sticks from the winch into the gearbox is probably, it's more than 1.5 inches. So that means I have to take that out from the top. So if I have to pull this out to get this pin out from the gearbox, so I can remove the gearbox from below. So everything is fighting tooth and nail. So I got all the screws out here. I was hoping that I could just pull, this would just lift out, but it's not. This
of course not.
They come out about 1/4 inch, but that's about it. I may look a little further into it, because this piece right here is the only thing left holding the whole thing from coming out, but it's bedded on here with something, 5200 or something. It's not budging. So I'm just now starting to work on that. Trying to put some... why they make these things so difficult to get off? I mean, I understand it takes a lot of load and you don't want it to move, but if you do have to do any repair work on it, it's like impossible to get to anything. So I'm just trying to figure out different ways to get some leverage. I don't want to stick a pry bar under there and ruin the gel coat. I may try with a plastic wedge, but I'm just trying to see if I can get any leverage like this, just to see if it'll even budge.
Just appears to be bending those.
No, it's moving a little bit.
Is it?
All right, we're good. Yeah. I'm just going to keep working that. Go back and forth for a while. I just happened to get lucky and find these in my box of
in your toolkit.
Junk.
Is that what you were thinking you saw last night that you were telling me? Oh.
This came with the air conditioners.
Okay.
It's just something to grab onto them and lower them or crane them in. They're not that heavy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I held on to them. They're stainless. So,
alright.
Those are working. So I'm just going to keep trying to torque this back and forth and break loose the sealant.
Okay.
And then hopefully I can get it off. See it moving a tiny bit. when I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Let me get a plastic scraper and see if I can tap it under there to see if I can start prying. Alright, so I need more leverage. So I'm taking 2 pieces of stainless tubing. I have a piece of, what do you call it, threaded rod. It's wrapped in plastic, but just putting these 2 together just to give me a little bit more leverage. Oh yeah, it's starting to break loose. There we go. Very.
Got it?
Yep. Alright, let's see if we can pull it out. Let's see, this won't come all the way off because there's a hub underneath that has a flange on it, so if this isn't enough to get that motor out from underneath, I don't know how I'm going to do that, so let's go take a look. Let's underneath, see if we can get the motor out. Alright, so here's the hole I have to work with. This right here. Let's see if you can see it. That's the motor. That's the pin that sticks down through. And looks like I can get to an Allen wrench to take that hub off if I need to pull it out anymore. I can't quite see yet. No, it looks like it might be clear. Yeah, I should be able to pull the motor and the gearbox out right now. I don't know if the camera's pointing at it or not, but oh yeah, there we go. That's what we were after. So that's the gearbox for the winch. This is the other part of the motor. The electric motor bolts onto this. And that's what I need to be able to fix the motor, or for the guy. I was bringing it to somebody and he said he doesn't want to touch it because he needs the other end of the motor so he can hook it up to power and see everything spin and work fine. So I was going to pull these 4 bolts out, which would have been easy. But then it dawned on me as I was pulling them out that this gearbox is probably full of oil. And it looks like there's a gasket right here in this joint. So I'm glad I realized that before I pulled it off, because I would have been rained on with oil, with gearbox oil, and that wouldn't have been fun. I still would have had to take this down anyway to fill it, because that right there looks like where you would fill the oil, and there's no way I could do that while I was in the hole. So, alright, that was a major victory. So yeah, this is a project, taking this apart, because I had to get to all of these 6 bolts, and with the gearbox on there, 2 of them were out of view and I had to do by feel, and there's not a whole lot of room at all to work in here. And also to separate the gearbox from this, there's 4 bolts on top of here, which you can only do by feel. So I took those out with a wrench I didn't have the camera, I don't think, so I didn't get that on video, but what a project. Anyway, let's get all this together, and it's the weekend, so the shop's closed, so at least I have this done to give them first thing Monday to bring to the guy to fix the winch motor. Actually, let me go find the rest of the winch motor and I'll show you what's wrong with it. Alright, here's the motor. They gave back to me. This right here, this goes to the brushes. So these two right here.
Film any video of us doing the burn.
Should be connected to these posts. So that post right there and that post right there. They're not connected. So that's what needs to be fixed. I don't know why they're not connected and what made it break, but they did. So I don't even know how to fix that, but I'm bringing it to somebody else to fix. So this whole assembly comes out away from this cover, so then we could lay it down on top and solder and solder. So this connection needs to be made. And I don't know, I'd probably still bring it to smarter people than me, because it's a pretty important part of the boat and really difficult to get back out if I can't do it right. Oh, wait a minute. We can unscrew that, take the post completely. I can't take it out. Can I? Yeah, it should come out from this side, then feed it back through. Yeah, let's go find somebody that can do that. Alright, I can, like I said, I can probably do it myself, but I'm not the greatest at soldering, and like I said, important part, very difficult to get to, so I could see how it's doable now. Could take this post completely out, take that connector off. This needs to be soldered to the post, then put the post back in and screw it back together. Alright, well, at least I got everything together, and they'll be able to test the motor. So we'll see how much that's going to cost me. But anyway, the hard part for me was getting all this out. So anyway, I'll give you an update when I put it back together. Alright, day 3 of trying to get this packing nut loose on the rudder post. So let me show you what's going on here. This is back in the steering quadrant. This is the top end of the rudder post. And that's the packing nut and the jam nut. See, there's my big 24-inch pipe wrench. And this jam nut I was finally able to get loose. It's not finger loose yet, but I can move it with a wrench. But this big nut up here, still working on that. That's got the packing in it to stop water from coming in the boat. And it's weeping. We do get water in the boat. I don't know if it's always had water in the boat, but there's a bilge pump down there. So that tells me that there's always been water coming in, and maybe they've never been able to stop it. So the solution is a bilge pump. I'm glad it's there, because now that I know it's there, I run it after every sail, or sometimes during the sail. It doesn't leak that much. There's usually only a couple cups of water. But until we found that it was actually leaking, we never put eyes back here for several months, and I think there was a lot of water and just a lot of humidity and stuff, and you can see all the it's not corrosion, but maybe it is. It's mostly just the paint coming up off of it. I cleaned it really well with a wire brush, got as much loose paint off as I could, and then coated it with anti-corrosive coating. It's like oil basically, and to try to stop that. So I'm not convinced that I still don't need to do something to this quadrant. Because I don't know if that's salt or it's actually the metal corroding. So I need to keep an eye on it and see what happens. But anyway, to fix the water seepage problem, I'm trying to tighten that packing nut. So my implements of destruction that I've been using are big pipe wrench, a hammer. I got a pry bar, the screwdriver I'm using to bang on the packing nut. Got the PV blaster and my heat gun. I just remembered I had that wrench, which I never knew what it was for, and then it occurred to me it's pretty big. And this is the biggest nut on the boat so far, so this is probably for adjusting the packing nut. So I'm going to try that. And it looks beefy enough to where I can get it around there and maybe beat on it with a hammer. See if that helps. So we'll try that, see what happens. Try tapping on it, see if the PV blaster did anything, and just to maybe loosen it. This is just a jam nut, I know that's loose. Nope. I'll take it when I moved. Yeah, I think it's moving. Yay. Can't quite tell. No, it's definitely in a different spot. Yep, it's moving. There we go. Nice. So, 3 days of squirting PB blaster on it, tapping every which way, all around it with a hammer, beating on the nut with a screwdriver and hammer. And I just found this wrench, or remembered I had it, and using that, and that's doing the trick. So I'm going to try to loosen it up all the way so I can clean the threads up and lube everything up. I don't think I'm gonna, I can't take it off enough to do packing, I don't think. No, I think the whole damn I gotta take this beam off. Way too much work, I think, to get to the packing on this.
because the packing would be inside there and there's not enough room to take it off to get to the packing. So that'll be a different project. But at least I can get some get these threads cleaned up and lubricated. So I can tighten the packing nut and hopefully stop the leaking. Alright, so 2 wins today. Got the winch motor off, electric winch motor, and finally got this packing nut loose. Taking this packing nut, or this jam nut, all the way to the bottom, and the packing nut all the way to the top, so I can clean and lubricate all the threads. So next time it won't be so difficult. So all the way to the bottom. I'm gonna call that done. Alright, let me get a wire brush so I can clean all this mess up. Alright, got my wire brushes. Glamorous boat life. Alright, let me turn the helm all the way to the other side so I can get over here maybe. Rinse it with water. Trying to clean all the salt deposits off everything. Not too bad. Alright, so I just rinsed out that whole area. Turning on the Bell's pump. Until that water out. That's about as little water as we can get when there's water in here. So I'll clean that up more once I'm done. Totally back here. Alright. Let's dry it. Actually, I'm going to get my heat gun to dry it out a little bit. Alright, that's good and dry. Now I can grease it up. So hopefully this won't be a big of a deal next time. I'm using Super Lube synthetic grease, because that's what I have. That should be great. Alright, let's tighten the packing nut back up. Let's see. I'm glad I found this wrench. I realized what it was might be for. It's easier than manipulating that giant pipe wrench. That's as tight as I can get it with this small wrench. Let's see if that up. No idea if it's in the same spot or not. We decided to put the pipe wrench on it to give it one more tighten. Alright, let's see if we can get a quarter turn on that. Let's try that. That should work.